In the waning years of the 2nd century BC, Rome stood at a glorious pinnacle. Victorious banners flew from the sun-drenched shores of Greece to the smoldering ruins of Carthage, and her legions had decisively crushed the once great Seleucid Empire. Yet beneath Rome's gleaming facade, internal fractures began to widen. Endless wars had drained the treasury, exacerbated social inequalities, and the Republic faced a troubling shortage of manpower in its once formidable citizen army. Then, in the ominous year of 113 BC, shadows fell from the north. The Germanic tribes, driven by devastating climate conditions in their homeland, surged across the Danube into Roman territory. These formidable warriors were unlike any enemy Rome had encountered. Fierce, relentless, and overwhelming, Roman defenses crumbled. City after city fell, and in 105 BC, at Arausio, catastrophe struck. An army of 80,000 legionaries was annihilated in one devastating stroke, sending shockwaves of fear throughout the Republic. Rome, it seemed, teetered on the brink of collapse. In this darkest hour, a hero emerged, Gaius Marius, a battle-hardened general fresh from victory in the dusty, blood-soaked deserts of Numidia. Even before he stepped foot in Rome, Marius was chosen consul, a testament to Rome's desperate need for leadership. Upon his return, Marius faced not only an external enemy, but internal turmoil. The army, once the proud militia of landowning citizens, was crippled by dwindling numbers and outdated organization. Decisive and visionary, Marius knew profound reforms were essential. He shattered the ancient tradition requiring property ownership for legionaries. Now, the landless poor, the capitae censi, counted merely by their heads, could join the legions. This was revolutionary. Rome's underclass, previously powerless and ignored, seized this unprecedented opportunity eagerly. Marius promised them state-supplied arms, professional pay, and the tantalizing prospect of loot from conquered territories. Hope stirred among Rome's impoverished, and the ranks swelled rapidly. No longer was the army a temporary militia. Under Marius, recruits enlisted for 16 arduous years, forming Rome's first true standing army. This professional force swiftly transformed Rome's military capabilities, producing seasoned warriors rather than short-term citizen soldiers. Yet beneath this military brilliance lay an unsettling reality. Soldiers became loyal, first and foremost, to generals who secured their fortunes, rather than to the abstract concept of the Republic. Marius went even further. Discarding the obsolete manipular system that had been the tactical foundation of Rome's military for generations. Gone were the small maniples and their varied animal standards. Only the proud eagle, the aquila, remained, symbolizing unity and strength. Cohorts replaced maniples as Rome's primary fighting unit, each consisting of 480 legionaries and 120 non-combatants. From engineers to servants. Within the cohorts were centuries led by experienced centurions and smaller groups known as contubernia, tightly bonded squads of 8 fighters who ate, trained, and slept together, forming unbreakable camaraderie. Marius's legionaries, now known uniformly as legionary, became a disciplined, cohesive fighting force. Equipped with the fearsome gladius, protective helmets, body armor, and the imposing scutum shield, these men were not merely soldiers. They were machines of war. Ingeniously, Marius modified the pilum javelin, replacing one iron fastening with a weaker wooden peg, designed to bend on impact, rendering enemy shields cumbersome and ineffective. Thus equipped, the legionaries became an unstoppable infantry force, robust, disciplined, and lethal. Logistics, too, evolved radically under Marius. He compelled each legionary to carry his own gear, provisions, and tools, eliminating cumbersome baggage trains that once slowed Roman forces. Though soldiers grumbled about their heavy burdens, nicknaming themselves Marius's mules, the reforms proved strategically brilliant. Freed from the slow baggage wagons, Roman legions became swift, agile, and capable of rapidly erecting fortifications deep within enemy territory. Yet Marius knew Rome's infantry alone could not face the fierce cavalry of its northern foes. Roman horsemanship had declined disastrously, leaving cavalry dangerously inadequate. Pragmatically, Marius disbanded most Roman cavalry units and replaced them entirely with skilled allied cavalry, Germans, Numidians, Gauls, whose expertise far surpassed that of Roman horsemen. Likewise, the obsolete velites gave way to specialized auxiliary troops, Cretan archers, Balearic slingers, and swift Spanish infantry, each excelling in tactics that Roman forces lacked. Marius's innovations soon bore fruit. In two decisive battles, Aquae Sextiae in 102 BC and Vercellae in 101 BC, the seemingly invincible Germanic invaders were crushed, their armies shattered by the disciplined fury of Marius's legions. Rome breathed a collective sigh of relief. Disaster had been averted. Yet victory carried seeds of future conflict. Soldiers who owed their livelihoods, riches, and security to powerful generals increasingly saw these commanders as their true leaders. Loyalties shifted dangerously from the Senate to the battlefield commanders. Rome, once unified, grew fragmented by ambitious military figures vying for power. Sulla, Pompey, Caesar, men whose personal armies became tools of their ambitions. Civil wars erupted, the Republic weakened, and eventually imperial Rome emerged from the ruins. Marius's reforms, born from necessity and brilliance, transformed Rome into the greatest military power the ancient world had ever seen. Yet, paradoxically, these same reforms would sow the seeds for Rome's profound transformation and the Republic's ultimate demise. Through the iron discipline and relentless march of his legionaries, Marius had saved Rome, but in doing so, he irrevocably altered its destiny.